Okay. Done, I believe. I need to go to here. Um, 1 second. I'm close. Oh, it says that we're streaming. Hey, we are streaming. Let's fucking go. That was easy. That was easier than normal. So let me get you the link. And get you the little linky poo here. Streaming. Let's fuck. Okay, here's the little linky poo. Do that, and then before I lose these, let me open these two. So yeah, so come on over to YouTube. We're just finishing the Twitch stream up, moving over to YouTube. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and hop on over to our YouTube channel with the link in the Twitch chat. And I will end the Twitch stream and we will be over on YouTube. Okay, we're on YouTube. Okay, so let me whoops. Moving all these windows around keeps messing me up. Okay. God damn, no, stop that. Okay, there's that. Now I gotta get web listed. Bum, bum, bum. Nope, that's me. Nope. Yes, that's the one I want. Then you guys sent me these articles. There's this one. Wait, I think I was reading this exact same resource earlier. But let's see, where is it? Where did I just put it? Okay. So here's the one. Walter Leon Hill, aka Lee Hill, formerly attorney at law. What the hell? Accept. Fine, leave me alone. Why is he important in the JonBenet Ramsey case? Because he's connected. He has a connection, and there is a warrant out for his arrest. Because Lee Hill was part of one of the worst attacks on an innocent family we have ever witnessed. Originally questioned John Ramsey under oath in a little-known lawsuit. Lee Hill represented Stephen Miles, a local photographer who sued the Ramseys, the National Enquirer, and two other supermarket tabloids reporters for libel, slander, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Miles alleges he was defamed by two Enquirer articles in '97. Article labeled Miles a pedophile and quoted an unnamed source as saying John Ramsey believed the photographer killed his daughter. Lee Hill was deposed. Oh, I need an account for them. Fast forward to 2000. Nancy Krebs was watching Fox News. She saw Lee Hill interviewed. Nancy went to a phone booth and called him. She felt she could trust him. Is this the Nancy that sent the poems? That somebody called Lee Hill? Or no, somebody from the church called to send him to Lee Hill. Lee Hill is the man, along with Stephen Singular, who brought Nancy Krebs to Boulder and started one of the most. Oh, Nancy Krebs. Was she the. Who's the one from California that accused somebody of molesting her? I've ever seen. The whole story turned out to be a lie. Yet, even though recently released, Mulder and Scully here, recently released, oh shit, I lost my thing. Recently released public documents, it's been proven that Boulder District Attorney Alex Hunter and Boulder Daily Camera editor Hartman were aware of this. Were aware from the start that Krebs had a history of lying to law enforcement. Both of them went forward to give Nancy Krebs credibility. Lee Hill was there every day, calling, pushing desperately, trying to perpetrate her lies. Whether Nancy believed she was telling the truth or knew she was lying can be argued. What were the lies Nancy told authorities? She said Fleet White Sr. killed JonBenet Ramsey. Fleet White was actually in the house that morning. By the way, Fleet White would have been in his mid 80s. Is that true? Oh, Fleet White Sr. And the death of JonBenet. Fleet White Jr. and Ramsey were in a pedophile sex ring, abusing children. There were movies made. Story Nancy Krebs told was absurd, claiming that members of her family were at the White's party the night JonBenet was murdered, which the police, according to the just released documents, were able to prove to be false. Many people now have access to the whole file. Nancy is a 5150. So, very interesting. John Ramsey returned to Colorado on Tuesday to testify under oath, probably about what he said and to whom. In the days and weeks after his daughter's death, Ramsey is being sued in federal court along with these other people, blah, blah, blah. Ramsey was questioned by Miles, attorney for 4 hours. Attorneys on both sides said they cannot discuss it. Courteous and forthcoming. Can't be unsealed unless the judge orders it. So, what were the results of the case? Anybody know? I don't know. I have no idea. So we were over on the Twitch discussing these poems. There's 2 poems. We started talking about them last week, and we're just continuing to go through that this week.
Go to Denver. So it did not have a Boulder postmark. So Stephen said he took a bus to Denver and then dropped it in a mailbox. Mm-hmm. And that's how Hill got it. So the Manchurian Doll starts off.
So now here's the second poem. So the second poem is longer than the first one. Wait, did I close the one with the other poem? Did I really do that? That was pretty dumb. Okay, well let me bring that back up. Come on, hold on. I'm just. Okay, here we go. So the Manchurian Doll. This is the one he's about to read. Here's a link if you want it. I'll throw it in the chat. Sorry to bring this to December 25th. What was the estimated time of death? They don't know. They say it had to be between like 11 and 6 in the morning. But all of the forensics is shoddy crap. So here's the poems. Here's the link I put in the chat. But let's listen. Goddamn, with these windows, I got to figure out how these windows work. This software doesn't make much sense to me, but we'll get it figured out. So let's listen to this poem.
They say that innocence prevails and evil cannot master time, and riches and fame and fortune sow some evil seeds which then will grow to devour their progenitors. Of 30 duos, some must know that they themselves will out their crime and have. Within an old man's fleeting leer, the cycle of the dolls came round. It poisoned sick the world's Yule cheer. They use their own in passing down. The rituals remain unfound. And Christmas break gives time to heal. Parties abound, all wounds congeal, but one. At blithely festive New Year's bash, some candidates en route stop there, as if by feigning toast and cheer, they could undo the fatal sash the week before. But handlers die, and what to do? With Christmas nigh, the one in lieu did err. St. John would roll over in his grave to know the smut that crossed his nave, yet Christmas Day he held her near, as if he knew she'd disappear that very night. An elder cleric's errant son, his extant crush now on the run, did they supply the candidates with fodder for their lewd fun? Do tell. Truth blazes in, but from McFar. The hunt team's snare was too adept, with keen eyes placed to guard the bar. The talk of dolls and silence kept. They tripped the truth while jurors prepped, then sacked the hunter as inept. But hunters now, the hunted are.
Did we say Alex Hunter last time we listened to this poem? Please tell me we did. Please tell me we did say Alex Hunter last time. McFar. Where are we in this? St. John would roll over in his grave to know the smut that crossed his nave. Yet Christmas Day he held her near, as if he knew she'd disappear. That very night, an elder clerk's errant son, his extant crush now on the run, did they supply the candidates with fodder for their lewd fun? Do tell. Truth blazes in, but from McFar, which we said was McFarlane, the hunt team's snare. Is that Hunter? I don't know, handler. But what's funny is they normally capitalize things, but Hunter wasn't. But Alex Hunter was the district attorney. The hunt team's snare was too adept, with keen eyes placed to guard the bar. The talk of dolls in silence kept. They tripped the truth while jurors prepped, then sacked the hunter as inept. But hunters now the hunted are. Death's officer perfidly bared. Does anybody remember what that word means?
Death's officer perfidy bared, though taints of roofs fast disappeared. No antidote this Snow White spared. The other signs were clearly there, yet all were hastily interred, and silky dressed and golden haired truth slept. Of one who died outstretched on high, most gentle hands his swaddle made, and in spokal cloth she laid, nor twins replayed round captive limb. This mortal braid is our demise when angels perish in its vice. Betrayed by kindred's galling lies, as purloined justice turned blind eyes, a panic lapse left unsurmised. clues carried home, already prone,
Okay. It's so hard. I keep getting sidetracked with little things.
silence kept. He held her near, as if he knew she'd disappear that very night. An elder cleric's errant son, his extant crush now on the run, did they supply the candidates with fodder for their lewd fun? Do tell. Truth blazes in, but from McFar. The hunt team's snare was too adept, with keen eyes placed to guard the bar. The talk of dolls and silence kept. They tripped the truth while jurors prepped, then sacked the hunter as inept. But hunters now, the hunted are. Death's officer perfidy bared, though taints of roofs fast disappeared. No antidote this Snow White spared. The other signs were clearly there, yet all were hastily interred, and silky dressed and golden haired truth slept. Of one who died outstretched on high, most gentle hands his swaddle made, and in spokal cloth she laid, nor twins replayed round captive limb. This mortal braid is our demise when angels perish in its vice, betrayed by kindred's galling lies as
Mortal braid. That could be the that could be the garrote. Okay. We'll listen to the whole thing again.
purloined justice turned blind eyes, a panic lapse left unsurmised, clues carried home, already prone, sleep guised. However, one must study greats. Take, for example, William Yeats, who spoke about Byzantium. No governor could stop the run. Your split in planning took its.
Wait, we got into a cult. What was the cult? Golden Dome or something like that? I need some Golden Dome. What was it called?
Toll. Your race spun out of control. Things fall apart. The Antichrist lurks in the head. It festers in the carnal eye, which takes young victims from their bed to suffer that and then to die. Now vacant, half-glazed tears are shed from ambidextrous author's stead. One doll, now grown, hides in dread. Another Manchurian candidate is dead. So now we got two
What if Patsy was made to write the letter? Golden Dawn?
poems.
Am I crazy? But does it feel like it's written by Nancy?
Right, you would think, because
Yes.
it's there are references in the Manchurian doll to
Right.
Nancy's story.
There's references to that the Christmas break is going to heal all wounds but one.
That's right.
And so the wound that may never heal could be the death of the child, or could be the damage down below that is talked about. We don't need to get into that too much. And then when we reference St. John's, of course, that's the intent is to talk about the church, and that's the church that the Ramseys attend. That's the church that a lot of their friends attend as well. Correct?
Correct. John Fernie, the doctor, Dr. Francis Buff, also a St. John's member. Very close confidant to John Ramsey was Reverend Holverstock, who's going to play a key role with these in the story of the poems and the tip line that you mentioned.
And before we go any further, go through the roster of names that were present at the Ramsey house the morning that JonBenet's body is discovered in the basement, and which ones on that roster have direct relationship with the church.
Okay, well, everybody that has a direct relationship. So let's start. John and Patsy, their church. JonBenet, the victim, she attended that church. The ransom note said, don't call anybody or we'll behead your child. So what do? They call people immediately. Fleet White, accusations. He doesn't go to St. John's, but he's called. John and Barbara Fernie, big players at St. John's Church. They're called to the house. Reverend Holverstock, he also comes over. Those are your key players. And then when Patsy is taken to John Fernie's house after, the body's found, she goes to John Fernie's house. They take her there. That's when the doctor heavily medicates her. Now, people always say, she had a whole bunch of doctors, cancer doctors.
Let's do the poem one more fucking time.
Attend as well, correct?
Correct. John Fernie, the doctor.
Your friends, and that's the
Though now it's with fodder that crossed his 2 years back, cheer themselves. I do have it here. If you want me to read it,
420.
Nick, if you think we should just continue on and get to the point that you're asking about the tip line, it's up to you.
No, I want to hear the, and I think the listeners will want to hear the other poem as well.
Okay, so Attorney Lee Hill has mailed 2 poems that he received out. One is what we call the 3 Men poem to me, and the Manchurian Doll poem was sent to author Stephen Singular. Stephen Miles was asked by somebody involved who's a member of St. John's Church to send one of these poems to him, and asked Stephen Miles to go to Denver so it did not have a Boulder postmark. So Stephen said he took a bus to Denver and then dropped it in a mailbox.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Hill got it. So the Manchurian Doll.
I guess Denver had buses back then.
Starts off. They say that innocence prevails and evil cannot master
Just a joke.
time, and riches and fame and fortune sow some evil seeds which then will grow to devour their progenitors. Of 30 duos, some must know that they themselves will out their crime and have. Within an old man's fleeting leer, the cycle of the dolls came round. It poisoned sick the world's Yule cheer. They use their own in passing down. The rituals remain unfound. And Christmas break gives time to heal. Parties abound, all wounds congeal, but one. At blithely festive New Year's bash, some candidates en route stop there, as if by feigning toasts and cheer, they could undo the fatal sash the week before. But handlers die, and what to do? With Christmas nigh, the one in lieu did err. St. John would roll over in his grave to know the smut that crossed his nave, yet Christmas Day he held her near, as if he knew she'd disappear that very night. An elder cleric's errant son, his extant crush now on the run, did they supply the candidates with fodder for their lewd fun? Do tell. Truth blazes in, but from McFar. The hunt team's snare was too adept, with keen eyes placed to guard the bar. The talk of dolls in silence kept. They tripped the truth while jurors prepped, then sacked the hunter as inept. But hunters now, the hunted are. Death's officer perfidy bared, though taints of roofs fast disappeared. No antidote this Snow White spared. The other signs were clearly there, yet all were hastily interred, and silky dressed and golden haired truth slept. Of one who died outstretched on high, in most gentle hands his swaddle made, and in spokal cloth she laid, nor twins replayed round captive limb. This mortal braid is our demise, when angels perish in its vice. Betrayed by kindred's galling lies, as purloined justice turned blind eyes, a panic lapse left unsurmised, clues carried home, already prone, sleep guised. However, one must study greats. Take, for example, William Yeats, who spoke about Byzantium. No governor could stop the run. Your split in planning took its toll. Your race spun out of control. Things fall apart. The Antichrist lurks in the head. It festers in the carnal eye, which takes young victims from their bed to suffer that and then to die. Now vacant, half-glazed tears are shed from ambidextrous author's stead. One doll, now grown, hides in dread. Another Manchurian candidate is dead. So now we got 2 poems.
Am I crazy, but does it feel like it's written by Nancy?
So I don't know which Nancy they're talking about, but maybe the crazy Nancy. So I forgot. There somebody made notes about this stuff. Okay, so it says there are people who knew about these poems long before I ever did and seriously researched them. They know They know who the writers were and who the poems were sent to, but I don't think they have revealed this particularly from somewhere we did learn who wrote these. I just don't remember. These people know far more about these poems than I do, and 1 or 2 of them have been generous in revealing their ideas about them. Most of their ideas I have agreed with, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so Manchurian Doll references. These are just somebody's thoughts. Of 30 duos, some must know that they themselves will out their crimes and have a reference to 15 couples, probably in Boulder, who were involved in child sexual abuse. This does sound like the crazy lady. Within an old man's fleeting leer, a reference to Fleet White Sr., who was living in Aspen. It's about 2.5 hours from Boulder. The rituals remain unfound, and Christmas break gives time to heal. Parties around. Parties are held around Christmas time, during which children are sexually and physically abused, the physical wounds having time to heal before. At Blithely Festival, New Year's Bash, some candidates en route stop there as if by feigning toasts and cheer, they could undo the fatal sash the week before. A reference to the New Year's Eve party thrown by Fleet Sr. at their house in Aspen and their guests, some who went to another Christmas time to another location en route to undo the fatal sash, whatever that means. But handlers die, and what to do with Christmas nigh, the one in lieu did err. The handler reference has to be to Mackie Boynton, who was mentioned by Nancy Krebs, there we go, as having used a garrote on her when he sexually abused her as a child. Mackie Boynton died a year before JonBenet's murder, the inference being that someone else took over Boynton's role, but effed it up by fatally strangling Benet. Boynton had only ever used the garrote to non-fatally strangle children as part of an extremely sick pedophile practice, a skill that was not easy to master. You know, we all need to be able to master that. Unfucking believable. St. John would roll over in his grave to know the smut that crossed his nave, a reference to possible involvement in individuals associated with church in the murder. An elder cleric's Aaron's son, his extent crush, now on the run. Still trying to work on that. Truth blazes, but from McFar. McReynolds. What? That makes no sense. Why wouldn't it be McFarlane? The hunt team's snare was too adept, a reference to Hunter being on the right track. With keen eyes placed to guard the bar, the talk of dolls in silence kept, reference to a cover-up of the crime. Oh, fuck. Who was the dude in charge of the bar? You remember what I'm talking about? Stickers. Corny. We just read earlier the dude was in charge of the bar association. Where is it? Where is it? Shit. There's McFarlane, Early. Ron Porter. Hold on. Or was it in one of the articles you guys sent? There was something from Rumble that talked about there was another pedophile. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, my bad. McFarlane, Dr. Robert McFarlane, and my experience with the Ramsey murder case and Hunter's grand jury. This isn't it, though. So who was the fucking...
Right. You would think.
McReynolds' 9-year-old daughter and her friend were kidnapped, essay on Xmas some other year. Well, and we looked at a guy that was convicted of kidnap, rape, and murder of a college student in December of 1997. But there's a resource.
Because
Yes.
it's there are references in the Manchurian Doll
Right.
to Nancy's story.
There's references to that the Christmas break is going to heal all wounds but one.
That's right.
And so the wound that may never heal could be the death of the child, or could be the damage down below that is talked about. We don't need to get into that too much. And then when we reference St. John's, of course, that's the intent is to talk about the church, and that's the church that the Ramseys attend. That's the church that a lot of their friends attend as well. Correct?
Correct. John Fernie, the doctor, Dr. Francis Buff, also a St. John's member. Very close confidant to John Ramsey was Reverend Hoverstock, who was going to play a key role with these in the story of the poems and the tip line that you mentioned.
And before we go any further, go through the roster of names that were present at the Ramsey house the morning that JonBenet's body is discovered in the basement, and which ones on that roster have direct relationship with the church.
Okay, well, everybody that has a direct relationship. So let's start. John and Patsy, their church. JonBenet, the victim, she attended that church. The ransom note said, "Don't call anybody or we'll behead your child." So what do? They call people immediately. Fleet White, accusations. He doesn't go to St. John's, but he's called. John and Barbara Fernie, big players at St. John's Church. They're called to the house. Reverend Hoverstock, he also comes over. Those are your key players. And then when Patsy is taken to John Fernie's house after, the body's found, she goes to John Fernie's house. They take her there. That's when the doctor heavily medicates her. Now, people always say, she had a whole bunch of doctors, cancer doctors. Why call the pediatrician to be the one? I guess she was close to him because he was a church member. And then she is heavily drugged at John Fernie's house. So those are your key players. And now look, there were a ton of people there. Social services had a bunch of people there. I think other church members showed up and everybody was cleaning. That's how they kept busy, wiping down the kitchen. So, yeah. Now, you can't blame Linda Arndt because, like you said, they were going under the idea this was a kidnapping. But right. Linda Arndt could tell that things were just going out of control there.
Well, she's trying to corral them into the den or to the office area, and she can't keep, it's like herding cats. She can't keep everybody in there. And in her defense, as we already stated, she's left there alone without any help from her.
Okay, so this says, this says Nancy, the ransom note writer, aka number 7, 3rd place, and I know. January 27, 2002. Those of us following the online forums in the JonBenet Rant learned about the Nancy tip when Susan Bennett, aka Jameson, posted on her web sleuths thread title that she tipped really named Nancy It's only a name that Jameson gave her. The other Nancy, Nancy Krebs, is the one that made all those accusations. How it got onto the Ramsey's house. Ramsey note was written on an original notepad that was found inside the house. 3.5 months later, Jameson was posting on her forum that Boulder Police Chief Beckner still had not contacted Nancy. In the meantime, Nancy began posting on Webster's forums under the name number 7 third place. Nancy Post says that SBTC ransom note means so be the cause. So if you want to read through this, feel free. That's way too much for me to go through. I know, it does feel like the whole community is guilty as hell. Doesn't it? Okay. I'm still looking for that thing.
Her department.
And an interesting note, before she was a detective, she worked sex crimes. So she may have known about some of the stuff that we came across over the years, the names. I mean, we've talked about cases. We haven't even gotten into a lot of it because, you can't have us on for 8 hours. But the town had a problem. And we always said, the answer is in the town. And like you mentioned, cops always they start from the inner circle, work their way outward. That's why we did the opposite. We said we can't look at it this way. We got to take it and from the outside and work our way in until we find another case or event that's separate from the Ramsey murder that brings in or connects other Ramsey players. That may be your only chance to solve this case, because the first case was so botched, so bad, that we believe that our way was the only way. So you now have these 2 poems. I believe Steve got excited when I told him about the 3 men poem, gave him the names. One name was a member of St. John's Church. Another, this man we can mention for sure, John Rossi. It's a name that nobody ever heard of. And Jim, what do you think about the 3rd name?
Well, the third name was wasn't a suspect at one point, but
okay, we'll just say it. Now, while this poem, it's just a poem, and this was the problem for me, was it could have been written by anybody, it could have been written by an insane person. But it was Lou's importance, it was how he deemed it important, and asking me for his help in finding out who wrote it, that these 3 names had to be important. So one was a member of St. John's Church, the other guy's name was John Rossi, and the third was Mervyn Pugh. Now, the poem, this is an accusation. So they're saying, the writer of this poem is saying these 3 men were somehow involved in the murder of JonBenet Ramsey. That's what the poem is making reference to.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So we have that. Now we have the 2 poems. We have the person who delivered one of the poems. I get the name of the writer of the poem. We contact her. There were others. I'm not sure if they want their names involved, so I'm just going to leave it out. But there were other people involved with helping me. This wasn't just me and my brother at this point. But eventually, Lee Hill came back from Asia to help us out to try to get this person to talk. And this person eventually did. And eventually, this person, who was a member of St. John's Church, admitted to writing the Manchurian Doll poem. They would not admit to writing the 3 men poem because you're naming names, you're making accusations. And, there's when you start reading it and you start breaking down each stanza, there's some truth, there's some truth to it that you're about to see. And you can understand why nobody would want to cop to writing it, because there may be legal ramifications for what happened. Now, we continued our investigation with the poems, and now the years are going by. So now you're talking, so now we have the writer. The writer doesn't really want to cooperate, cooperated for a short time, but then backed away. Okay. So we keep digging. Jim, what would you say would
That's a good question, Corny.
be the next big break that we took after that?
Well, just going back to the names on the list real quick, just to state facts of the case, alleging, the allegations that are there. Mervyn Pugh, also looked at as a suspect early on, did receive a DNA test and was eventually cleared, according to the early DNA tests. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Wait. So he was cleared because of DNA test, but he didn't have to submit DNA? Is that what we're saying? I'm confused.
From my understanding, he was given a DNA test.
They took his DNA and he was cleared.
He was cleared. Correct.
Okay. Now, he has an interesting name here, right? Because Mervyn Pugh, didn't one of the poems say something about Hoffman's pew?
Yeah, that's the part where it says.
And I mean, I'm Catholic, so I know what a pew is.
Yeah.
But
when you break down the Three Men poem and you look at it carefully, the writer of this poem chose their words very specifically and wrote it in a certain way to give clues.
Yeah.
For example, a little, to solve a tale of misconstrue, just look into the Hoffman's pew. It doesn't take rocket science to figure out Hoffman Pugh is a play on the last name Hoffman Pugh. You'll find there in Fort Lumpton Slough. Fort Lumpton is where they used to live at one point.
Wait, Hoffman Pugh is the cleaning lady, the housekeeper.
Yeah, and Mervyn Pugh is her husband.
And here's the thing: I actually found myself in a conversation about Mervyn Pugh and Hoffman Pugh just a few days ago. Somebody asking if how well they were vetted, and we know they were questioned very quickly because Patsy points the police in the direction of Hoffman Pugh because she had asked to borrow some money, and they even had Hoffman Pugh submit some handwriting samples. Now, and I'm going to ask you guys to confirm or tell me that I'm just wrong here, but it's my guess based off of my limited understanding of these two individuals that I don't believe that they would be able to write the ransom letter. Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, I would agree.
There were some words and some terms and some phrases that were used in the ransom note that I don't know. I would, if I had to make a wager, I wouldn't bet that they could write that letter.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. I think none of the three names mentioned in the poem are going to write that ransom letter. I agree. And not only was Mervyn Pugh excluded, the one name that is.
Okay, so what I was looking for is somebody was supposedly sending explicit child material to the head of the bar association back in the day. And when it said protect the bar, that probably is a reference to that specific guy.
As a member of St. John's Church, he was excluded.
The person that we've been advised, I want to be clear here with the listeners so we can be candid. We've been advised not to say this individual's name. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So the individual who can't be named, trying to get his story about his DNA a little on the confusing side, because I've been given multiple stories. First, I've been told, oh yeah, cleared right away in 97. But then I start getting information that, well, maybe his DNA sample was improperly taken. So I'm told that. Then I'm told, oh, no, he was cleared in 2008. Then I'm told, oh, no, he wasn't.
Oh, no.
So there's this confusion when it comes to this individual who's a member of the church about his DNA. Somebody may have screwed up, once again, botched by the Boulder Police Department. And I'll say it again, when you start botching this much stuff, sometimes it could be on purpose. I'm just saying that's how it appears, because this case has been botched all the way through. And now you're telling me you can't take some people's DNA you can take right, and maybe some people's DNA you take wrong? And to make it even worse, because everybody, especially today, everybody's got such high hopes. DNA, it's going to solve it. Finally, they got outside people looking. They got this cold case unit, DNA. Ollie Gray told me back in 2007 that he was going to start collecting certain people's DNA. Not going to mention their names, but big players in the case.
Yeah.
That you would assume have been excluded and were via DNA. And when I asked Ollie why he was doing that, he was like, yeah, there may be problems with some people's DNA where, we may have to do it again and do it right.
Dude, I don't trust
So
the
if you
main
can't
DNA
even
sample.
trust who's been excluded, how are you going to solve this case via DNA?
I don't trust the main DNA sample. Like, not even a little bit. I mean, I just think if you go off the main premise that this entire fucking case is like, you can't trust anything. You can't trust the cops. You can't trust the parents. I mean, you need confirmation of every little thing possible. Should we start the next one or do something a little different? Well, we'll just start it.
That comes in February of 1997. It's supposed to be a tip to try to help direct or give information regarding the investigation in the homicide of JonBenet Ramsey. What was the date of this call and what was the nature of this call?
Okay, so what we have
Can't trust it.
now, everybody has to understand
That's funny.
that case file information in this case coming out into the public sphere, it doesn't exist. I mean, you have the Ramsey interviews, John's interview, you got two Patsy Ramsey interviews, but case file information, we don't have it except for this. And this is a report from the Boulder Police Department. We were emailed this from a third party saying that we should take a look at something, and they sent us a file, and it was this. So we're looking at it, and there's a date. It's to one of the commanders at the Boulder Police Department, and it's also to the district attorney's office. It's written by a detective, dated 2/26/97, 14:30 hours. And in this tip line call, the detective is interviewing a woman who's calling to give information
Nice.
about a family member, her brother.
Okay, so listen to this. This is the part that makes me think she's related to the person from the church.
But case information in this case coming out into the public sphere, it doesn't exist. I mean, you have the Ramsey interviews, John's interview, you got two Patsy Ramsey interviews, but case file information, we don't have it except for this. And this is a report from the Boulder Police Department. We were emailed this from a third party saying that we should take a look at something, and they sent us a file, and it was this. So we're looking at it, and there's a date. It's to one of the commanders at the Boulder Police Department, and it's also to the district attorney's office. It's written by a detective, dated 2/26/97, 14:30 hours. And in this tip line call, the detective is interviewing a woman who's calling to give information about a family member, her brother. And she's stating that after seeing the Ramsey murder, she thought maybe she should call and let the police know. And as the detective is interviewing her, she's talking about how her brother is a part of St. John's Church and how he had sex with his sister, her, from the age of 11 to the age of 18. And the woman also states that her brother has mentioned that he knows the Ramsey family, and she wants this information to be given to the police, and thinking it may help, and that they may want to look at her brother. So that is, in essence, the tip line call. It goes into, I don't want to read the whole thing, but it just
Is that the Karen lady that you can't trust, or Nancy Krebs?
goes into where she lives, where the brother lives, but the crux of it is the information that she was sexually abused by her brother over a period of years. So you talk about incest, and because of her age, and she mentions it started off as kind of like nude modeling, but then led on into full intercourse. So this wasn't just a case of slight molestation.
Grooming.
So that is, in essence, this tip line call.
To be clear here, this tip that's coming in is coming in for, and I know that you've already said a lot of this, but I want everybody to have a good understanding. The tip that's coming in is saying, not only was I subjected to abuse or incest at the hands of my brother, but this individual has direct ties to St. John's Church and is in Boulder, Colorado, 1996 December. And so this individual should be of great concern, especially factoring in that the victim in that abuse case that she's calling in would have been a younger victim.
Yes, she was in her.
So there's the line in the poem, right? No, not this poem, the other poem. Where's the other fucking poem? Where's the line that said about the sister? Oh, protected by the church decree, delved in child pornography, while elders professed not to see. His sister told them it could be. He killed the child, an honest she. His secret would not bury. I mean, that could be exactly what that is. I mean, it could also not be. So
her 40s when she made this call back, and so this happened many, many years prior to the murder. So she was aged 10 or 11 when it started, lasted up till she was around 18. Her brother, this is the person that's connected to St. John's, was around 16 when he started the abuse of his sister. And for whatever reason, when the JonBenet Ramsey case broke, it just reminded her of her brother, and she was like, I better call the tip line, which she did. And then what you have here is
nothing like family.
The detective interviewing her over the phone, and she's
family,
giving him this information. The other thing that came in was a narrative written by another detective. And it pretty much goes over the phone call that the other detective had, and it's just basically a summary. And the detective actually writes, after speaking with this woman, I felt it was important to speak with her brother. So they bring the brother in, and they question him. But before the brother, they bring in Reverend Hoverstock, who was the rector or the head priest of St. John's Church. They tell him about the phone call they had received from this woman, and they mention that this person that she's talking about is from St. John's, and Hoverstock says, "Oh yeah, I know him," but he said, "I'm shocked to learn about any kind of sexual molestation."
I don't trust Hoverstock at all. I don't trust Hoverstock at all.
About him, I had no idea. That is an important statement by Reverend Hoverstock, because we have other information that contradicts that statement by him. And that's going to lead us to what I want to call the church timeline of events. Okay, the church timeline is not a police document. This is a document that I made based on interviews with the person from St. John's that wrote the Manchurian Doll. And then later, my brother and I got the name of another individual, and we contacted this person, and we call this person, so this is a third person. So you have the tip line woman, you have the poem writer woman, and now we found a person that we call the witness in the church. And the witness describes to us a story that ties in the poem, the Three Men poem, and how certain stanzas were based on true events, based on our witness in the church. It's what our witness went through and witnessed. So our witness at the church joins St. John's Episcopal Church in 1992. Our witness states that Father Hoverstock is notified about an individual by the individual's sister. That individual I'm referring to is the individual I just talked about in the tip line, the brother. The sister that made the tip line call in 1997 went to the church and told Father Hoverstock about her brother. That transpired, according to our witness, between the years 1990 about in the tip line. Our witness states that Father Hoverstock is notified about an individual by the individual's sister. That individual I'm referring to is the individual I just talked about in the tip line, the brother. The sister that made the tip line call in 1997 went to the church and told Father Hoverstock about her brother. That transpired, according to our witness, between the years 1992 and 1994.
Wait. Stop. Did anybody else know we were talking about before the crime? Did anybody else already know that? And I just too high?
Based on true events, based on our witness in the church. It's what our witness went through and witnessed. So our witness at the church joins St. John's Episcopal Church in 1992.
Our witness joined St. John's in 1992.
Witness states that Father Hoverstock is notified about an individual by the individual's sister. That individual I'm referring to is the individual I just talked about in the tip line, the brother. The sister that made the tip line call in 1997 went to the church and told Father Hoverstock about her brother. That transpired, according to our witness, between the years 1992 and 1994. This is a huge problem because, as I had just read in the police documents, Hoverstock said he was shocked to learn about this individual and about any kind of sexual molestation. According to what my witness says, he knew years prior. So he knew exactly what this person was years before JonBenet died and then lied to the cops about it. That opens up a can of worms because he was there that morning.
Yep.
He's a close friend of John Ramsey. So big problems. To continue with the church timeline. Hoverstock is notified about the brother.
Wait, we don't know the name of the person that's close to Priest on Fire. We don't know the person they're talking about that was close to the Ramsey that was at St. John's, right?
Brother's sister, concerning the brother's sexual abuse of her when she was younger. Mid-90s, Father Hoverstock oversees St. John's 100th anniversary capital campaign, which resulted in a major restoration and expansion on church campus. Millions of dollars are raised.
Yo, by the way, I went to the church. It is freaking gigantic.
Extremely wealthy church. Everybody needs to remember that. Okay, February 1997.
I mean, I bet the land it's sitting on is worth $15 million.
Woman calls the
Just the
Ramsey murder
land.
tip line. The woman tells the Boulder Police Department about her brother, who is a member at St. John's. She tells the Boulder Police that her brother started having sex with her around the age of 11 through 18 years of age. She states that her brother, that they need to look at her brother when it comes to the murder of JonBenet Ramsey. March 97. Boulder Police interview Father Hoverstock. Hoverstock talks about the brother. Hoverstock says he has no knowledge of the brother being a child molester. Hoverstock says he is shocked to learn of this information. And as I just stated,
Shocked.
my witness contradicts that claim. March 97, the Boulder Police Department interviewed the brother. During that interview with the brother, he pretty much has no alibi. Asleep
Wait, what do you mean he pretty much has no alibi? Does he have an alibi or no?
at home with the wife. That's not
true.
considered a good alibi.
Unless
April 30th.
Unless you're Trump, then your own hush money becomes an international story.
1997.
Let me jump in here for
Yes,
a second.
yes, sir.
Where in proximity to the Ramsey home is asleep at home with the wife?
Very close.
They added solar panels to the church.
Minutes.
Minutes driving, minutes walking.
Minutes walking.
Minutes walking.
Mhm.
Continue on. I'm sorry.
1998. Our witness befriends the brother at St. John's. Like I had mentioned earlier, he was a very popular individual at the church. The brother starts to talk to my witness as they get closer.
Oh, okay.
And then all of a sudden starts telling her
Sounds pretty fucking woke.
about incest fantasies that he's having. Starts showing her his writings about incest and tells our witness that he is watching and fantasizing about little girls who attend church at St. John's. My witness goes to Father Hoverstock and other vestry members who are, when we say vestry, that's elected church officials. And she tries to tell them about this individual's actions and behaviors, about the incest fantasies and the fantasizing about girls at the church. She is either dismissed or not believed. And as she told me I believe it was 98, when she went to Hoverstock and told him what was going on with this individual, Hoverstock told her to go light a candle and then walked away.
I mean, in reality, this brother is grooming, or I believe trying to groom the witness.
Yes.
She has a young child.
The witness got very upset during one of the phone calls, and she started asking me, why did he pick me? Why did he pick me to tell me these things and to show me these things? And I said, you have a daughter, right? How old was she? She was young. I said, he was most likely grooming you to get to your daughter.
Whoa, what?
To go, and as she told me I believe it was 98, when she went to Hoverstock and told him what was going on with this individual, Hoverstock told her to go light a candle and then walked away.
I mean, in reality, this brother is grooming, or I believe trying to groom the witness.
Yes.
She has a young child.
The witness got very upset during one of the phone calls, and she started asking me, why did he pick me? Why did he pick me to tell me these things and to show me these things? And I said, you have a daughter, right? How old was she? She was young. I said, he was most likely grooming you to get to your daughter. To see, and I said, in one of the phone calls, and she started asking me, why did he pick me? Why did he pick me to tell me these things and to show me these things? And I said, you have a daughter, right? How old was she? She was young. I said, he was most likely grooming you to get to your daughter.
Oh.
To see where you were at. That's why he picked you. Anyway, to continue. Good Friday, 1999. Our witness finds child pornography in what is described to me as this individual's studio inside the church. My witness notifies the vestry members. they notified the Boulder Police Department.
Let me jump in here again,
Yes.
Frank. So when we say finds child pornography, are we talking about digital, paper, pictures? What are we talking? Do we have an idea?
Did not go into specifics.
Okay. So it could have been one picture. It could have been a mountain of pictures. We don't fully know.
It was as the only way she described it was child pornography and other stuff.
Yada yada yada.
Okay.
That's it. That's the only description.
Something that prompted this individual to call the police.
It prompted her to notify vestry members, church leadership, and they called the police.
Okay.
Good Friday, continuing 1999, Boulder police are called to the church. The Boulder police have to break into the room because it looks like this individual had.
So okay. So in the poem, it says, now this is right after it's talking about the brother. They did not know he changed the key when police would come to query. So they broke and entered quietly, though he would claim illicitly. And so avoiding calumny, a grand sum he was paid to flee. And so it was conveniently their questions he would parry.
Lock the door. And now I refer back to the Three Men poem.
Nope, my bad.
They did not know he changed the key when police would come to query. So they broke and entered quietly, though he would claim illicitly. Over a period of years, all this stuff is starting to add up. They find child pornography and other stuff. There is one vestry member who was present. They give us the name. I'm not going to mention the name. And having knowledge of these events. My witness says there were several vestry members present, but there was one name she remembered in particular. The child pornography is taken out of the church, and the individual is removed from the church, but is not arrested by the Boulder Police Department. For whatever reason.
Crazy. Paid to flee like how churches, yeah.
And the individual is removed from the church, but is not arrested by the Boulder Police Department. For whatever reason, the Boulder police cover up the search at St. John's. It's never made public. There's no paperwork on it that we ever found.
So did it happen?
The public has never been made aware that a search at the church has ever taken place. Never mind that pornography was found. April, May 1999. Now, this is where the poem writer information comes in because she was interviewed. Poem writer states that vestry members meet to discuss what to do with this individual. The poem writer states that this individual is asked to leave the church. This individual refuses.
Excuse me, fellow pedo. You got caught. You need to leave the church. Nah, I don't think so. No, seriously, we need you to leave the church. Nah. If you guys aren't leaving, and you're as bad as I am, just because they know about me doesn't mean they can't know about all you.
This individual blackmails the church. The witness states that this individual used the phrase, "If I go down, we all go down." This individual is paid off.
Taking you
the
with
amount
me.
paid, poem writer states, is $300,000. The witness states that this individual used the phrase, "If I go down, we all go down." This individual is paid off. The amount paid, poem writer states, is $300,000.
Yeah, read the line from the poem, Frank.
Oh, and then you go back
Would have been hilarious if you said $118,000.
to the poem. And so avoiding calumny, a grand sum he was paid to flee. Now you got to understand, we got the poem in 2003 and we're getting this information in like 2018. So everything is connecting. So this individual was paid around $300,000. There's also payments to other individuals. And as my witness states, rumors swirled among the church congregation that money from the capital campaign was used to pay off this individual. So it's not like
What capital campaign? What capital campaign? What's he talking about? What capital campaign? Oh, the church raising money for the expansion. That the church paid the money as part of the church's expansion. Got it.
people didn't have an idea. Church gossip gets around. My brother and I talked to other people at the church. They didn't want to talk about this incident. Nobody denied it. But they used phrases like, that situation was taken care of. Another person said, we don't focus on that anymore. We moved past that.
That's what Nancy Mace said about January 6th. Apparently that's code.
Nobody denied it.
Right.
Another line used was, we already took care of that with the Boulder police.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Now, so he's paid to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Give him some walking around money, some walking away money. What year was that?
Stated, it's by my witness, by the poem writer, is April, May 1999.
Okay, so $300,000 in 1999. Today, that would be $550,000 approximately in today's money, to give everybody a good idea of how much this guy was given to walk away, to vanish, get the hell out of here. And then we need to clue the listeners in too, because a church is only as successful or wealthy or powerful as its congregation, right? And in this situation, St. John's is in a very affluent part of Colorado. Boulder is very affluent compared to many parts of Colorado, but also this neighborhood in particular is kind of the creme de la creme of Boulder, correct?
Well, just to give you an idea, this is Supreme Court Gorsuch's
I think the Ramsey home is for sale for like $7 million right now.
church.
Yeah.
These are the kind of people that go there. This is how this kind of money's raised for a capital campaign, where, we're looking to do an expansion, and people in the congregation give money, and you raise a few million.
Not to mention the church gave this person, in today's money, $500,000. This is the same person who was alleged by his sister raped and abused her, fantasized about incest and about abusing other girls at the church, had child pornography at the church, and you're going to give this person money to go someplace else?
Well, I mean, that's how it all adds up in totality. Now you have to understand, the witness is not aware. When I told her about poems, she had no idea. She didn't know anything about poems. And when I was talking with her, the witness even said, I started talking about the Ramsey case, and she started getting nervous. The witness is like, "You're not telling me that he could be part of this." It's like they didn't even they don't know about the tip line call, because nobody knows about the tip line call. The witness didn't know. Apparently, the poem writer may have had an idea when it's written in the poem. His sister told them it could be.
Mm-hmm.
So to finish the timeline, after this individual is paid off and leaves the church, one of this individual's close friends, who was known as a bad seed, a bad guy, that's the information that we received on this individual. My witness,
it was probably Corn Pop. That's probably Corn Pop.
This close friend of the individual who just got paid off starts to stalk her children and threatens her to the point where she has to get a restraining order against this individual. And that's the end of the church timeline. So,
God damn, that's heavy stuff. Holy hell. Yeah, Corn Pop. That's pretty wild. I mean, is it so hard to believe that there's freaking pedos in a church? Seriously, is it really that hard to believe there's pedos in a church? I don't know. So this was fun. I gotta try to find a way to start organizing this stuff better. Cause like, I think I remember that name. Oh wait, didn't it? We need to find a way to make it easier. Um, yeah. So that's probably a good place to stop. We do this every Monday, starting around 3 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch, and then move over here about 4. That's something we'll try to do regularly, unless we start dual streaming. All right, y'all. Corny stickers, good hanging out, fun stuff, and I'll catch up with you very, very shortly. All right, y'all. Take it easy.